So welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take some time and we're going to install some armor from Badland Industries to replace the plastic piece covering the Evap canister. So if y'all own a 23 to 26 Colorado, you know the plastic piece that covers the Evap canister hangs pretty low. So if you do any type of off-roading or overlanding or anything like that where you're going to be off-road, you run a pretty high risk of actually damaging your Evap canister. And that would not be good if you're off on the trails. If you're off on the trails and something like that happens, you're gonna get a lot of check engine lights. And this is a pretty simple piece. I mean, it shouldn't take very long to install. So this video, I'm not gonna go into a lot of great details of installing this because there is gonna be a link below to Badland Industries install video that he actually has put together. I think it's 8 minutes long. But we're gonna get this installed. I'll just do a quick little walkthrough more or less. And then we're gonna go to a place called The Scales. I'm gonna do a drive up there. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here. And that's what this video is mainly gonna entail. It's gonna entail just a quick little brief overview of the install of this, what it looks like, and then we're actually gonna do some off-roading today. So if you're not entirely familiar with what the Evap canister is, there's a black plastic piece covering it. It's actually hanging below your frame rail. So there's actually going to be two 13 millimeters, or actually three 13 millimeters. So you're going to need a 13 millimeter socket and a 13 millimeter box wrench. So let's go and get started and get this black plastic piece off and get the new Badland Industries metal piece covering it. So I said the first two are 13 millimeters. You just want to get them semi-loose. There's the second one. All right, it feels like it's loose there. Next part, let's go underneath the truck. Again, right here's where you'll need your 13 millimeter and your 13 millimeter box wrench. Let's get the box wrench right quick. Right here's where you'll need your 13 millimeter box wrench. It's a very tight fit as well, so keep that in mind. There's that one off. Since we got that nut off, let's go ahead and start get the Badland Industries one put together. So we won't let this one hang, as it says in his video. It seems like that's probably the best idea, honestly, before we take off this last 13 millimeter bolt, and then we'll get it mounted up. All right, and in the kit, there's all the supplied hardware, the 3D printed part, the piece, the actual armor piece. He did actually include, he included a sucker, and he included his sticker there. So let's go and get the 3D printed piece mounted up to the actual piece, and then we'll get it mounted in the truck. All right, so here it is mounted up. You use two of the supplied bolts here. Make sure you don't screw them all the way in, because you'll want this piece right here is gonna mount actually into the Evap canister. And then this piece right here, you wanna leave these loose, so whenever you slide it, it can actually slide into the frame. That's what actually will hold it into the truck, and you'll actually screw these down or actually tighten these up once it's mounted in the truck. So let's go ahead and get this mounted into the truck and get the other one removed. All right. It is a little bit stubborn here. Okay, got it out. Make sure it's good and mounted. Next, we shall install this one. out. Just kind of loosely tie that back. Then we put our 13 millimeter and then our nut, supplied nut in. Now, per his directions, he indicates not to use any power tools. I don't ever use power tools anyways. That's not my way of doing things. I always just use hand tools. So just make sure you're not using any power tools. I'm assuming because his the heat cert he uses on this 3D printing could crack or break. Just finger tight or just tight enough so it's in there. Okay. And that's got it. Well, what we're gonna do, I lied. We're actually gonna tighten that one little bolt a little bit more that I left. That's the one right underneath here. Really don't need the swivel socket for that. All right, and that's all there is to it. As you can see, it is much below the frame rail now. So you're much less likely to cause any damage to your evap canister. So you won't get all those Christmas tree lights if you're off-roading and actually cause any damage to it. You won't be as apt to cause damage to it. So let's go to the scales and let's go do some off-roading. So I must add, I didn't get a chance to test the Badland Industries Evap canister protector at the scales, but I will say I feel a lot more confident going to this trail, and I think I'll feel a lot more confident on future trails. The Colorado Trail Boss has a lot of ground clearance, and I have an extra 1-inch ground clearance up front because of the Level Up or CCE leveling kit. However, again, any extra protection is great. I must add, I'm not sponsored by Badland Industries. They did not provide the part I just put on. I hope you enjoyed the install and also the drive. So I made it to the start of the scales. It's supposed to be a pretty fun trail. It's a beautiful day out today. Let's go ahead and air down and go ahead and get on our way. So we've made it to the scales. This is actually just a small trail. It's near Grayson Highlands State Park. I don't know the exact length. I can actually put that in the description, or I'll put that on the video somewhere after I look it up. But it's pretty rocky. I mean, it's supposed to be able to be accomplished by a stock 4x4. It doesn't look that bad, honestly. It's just a little narrow at points here. You can see, not again, I'm sure during the summer months it's a lot worse, just with trees and such, but it's just rocky so far. I aired down, I put it down to around 23 psi. That should be plenty, and just make it a little bit more comfortable. Hopefully there's some mud. It looks like we're getting ready to hit right into something right about here. Oh. There's some mud. Another little mud hole. Probably can't see it too well. I'll put some of the wolf box footage throughout this video of the one camera from the bumper, so you can get a little bit more of a feel of it, of the trail itself. This is an out and back trail. If anybody's wondering, from what I understand, it is an out and back trail. One little area, guys, wasn't too bad. It was a little rough, it's just rock. Like I said, it's just rocky through here. There was another place we went to that was called Bumpus Cove. I think that's the name of it. Gosh, there's been several places I went to. It reminds me some of that, but there's a lot more of a rock bed here. Again, I think I have enough clearance, it feels like, or it seems like. There's a part that I have coming in the next few weeks that I'll be installing that will help with terrain like this, especially when it's really bumpy. And it'll also help with a couple different things, but it's gonna make it a lot more comfortable to ride on this type of terrain. I'm excited to get it installed and maybe even come back to this area to see how it does, see if it is a lot more comfortable driving it. I could have probably dared down just a few more PSI and been fine, but made it to 20. I just didn't realize it was going to be this rocky. But I know I mentioned in my previous video when I went to the track that the Class C tires, I think the Class C tires, the Rubitrex, were a bit uncomfortable driving down, but a lot of that was actually I had them rebalanced yesterday. I think, well, depends on the day that you watch this video. It's on a Saturday, and it made them a lot better. And I'll be honest with you, in situations like this, when it's really rocky and the rocks are pretty jagged, you definitely a Class E tire is not a bad thing to have. Hope it's not closed. Hold on a second. So it says please close the gate. I'm guessing you can go in. Guys, I've never done this before. I guess you go in and just close the gate behind you. So I'm going to open the gate. And I'm going to go in and I'll close the gate behind me. I'm assuming because there is no lock. I'll close the gate behind me. That's a pretty view. It's gorgeous. Okay, well, don't want to leave the gate open too long because the horses. Well, guys, there we go, I think. There we go. All right, let's finish up the ride. Beautiful view. Now, let's eat. I brought this bougie RV cooler that I bought from Amazon last week for the track day. Should still be at 32 degrees, which is going to be awesome because it kept the meats cold, and then we'll have some good sandwiches and stuff before we head back down. So I'll catch you back at the end. So heading back down from the scales now, had a good lunch. The actual cooler worked really well. It kept everything really cold. It did come disconnected, I think, because it wasn't cooling when the time I opened it, but it was still super cold, so it must have became unconnected while we were actually coming up here. But let's head on back down. It's about, I think, about 4 or 5 miles. Again, it's pretty bumpy. Good trail, though. I mean, honestly, a good trail. If you're just looking for something kind of simple, but yet fun, I mean, worth the drive. If you're coming from the area I was, it was about a 2-hour drive up here, but honestly, it was really worth it. So let's get back on the road and get started. It's really so pretty up here. So let's get back on the road. Guys, we about made it back to the bottom, and I'll say it was about as bumpy coming down as it was going up. Actually, probably a little bit worse. As you know, off-roading sometimes going downhill, it's a little bit worse than going up. Just about the control. So far, the truck done really good. Had a really good time. The trail's awesome. So if you're in this general area, you know, I'd give it a try. It's a little bit long. Give yourself some time. The view up top's really, really pretty. It's a gorgeous place. So make sure you're able to stay around for a bit, and if you just want to hang out up there, it's awesome. I think there's some walking trails in the general vicinity up there because it's part of the Grayson Highland National Park. But I'm almost to the bottom here, so I'm gonna air back up and get back on the road back home.